Hello, book lovers. Welcome back to Rose and Reed's podcast. I'm Sophia.
I'm Haily.
All right, today we are going to be talking about Where The Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens.
We loved this book.
Yeah, first thoughts?
Okay, so I liked it. I loved the book, to be honest with you. I liked the book. I was about the movie.
Same, absolutely same. I really enjoyed the book. I liked the nature aspect that she brought into it. I loved hearing how Kaya, the main character, how she would like compare her life to animals and insects, and that's basically how she saw the world, was through the marsh.
Well, she had to
Little
connect
marsh
with
girl.
something. She had nobody in her
know,
life.
poor thing. So lonely.
I know. So overall, yeah, kind of sad how
It was a sad story.
Yeah, honestly, from the start to
lot.
finish, she then is on a murder trial. I mean, literally kind of sad. So
yeah, but honestly, overall, good story.
Good story, great book. It was entertaining. Yeah, I really liked it.
I cried. I laughed.
Yeah. So on that note, we're gonna need some wine to start us off.
Let's do it. What are we drinking today?
We got the bread and butter rosé.
Ooh,
because
I like butter.
Me too.
It's just good, you know.
Honestly,
good
I've
price.
never had the rosé.
No,
so, I like bread and butter. Actually, champagne, not champagne. Ah, my God, Chardonnay. Yes. And so when I saw this at the store, I was like,
it's a pretty color.
It is.
I'm here for it.
And this is the 2020 rosé. So
like the COVID era.
I get COVID.
Thank you, darling. Cheers.
Right, cheers.
Lovely.
To another day, another podcast about fun books.
And thanks, guys, for joining us again. If you listened to the first two and you're back with us, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're having fun. This is a great little journey that we're on, and we just appreciate all of you guys tuning in with us.
Yeah, we like talking
reading
about
along.
books, and this is now a different one. I mean, we were talking about Fourth Wing 2 weeks in a row, and so now doing a different one was really fun.
Completely different genre, just kind of switched gears on you. But I'm happy with it.
Me too.
Good story.
Well, okay, so when we were researching the book, I remember when I was reading it in 2018, whenever it came out, like right at the beginning, there was a little controversy came out about her, Delia Owens, the author.
Oh, the author.
Yeah. On how she was like on trial for murder or something.
She was?
No. So I that's what I thought when I was reading it.
Oh my gosh.
The first time, and I was like, what the hell?
Let me sit back in here. Let's listen in.
Well, so okay, now doing the research, fast forward now, is she studied zoology at University of Georgia because that's how she knows so much about the animals in her books and just all the history of it. I don't know how you would.
I was thinking either she went into a lot of like research for the book, or she just knows about it.
Yeah, and she knows about it because that's exactly what she studied.
Right.
So her and her husband they went over to Africa, to Zimbabwe. I'm pretty sure Zimbabwe. And so she wrote 3 books, like memoirs over there about a lot of them. She did a lot of research on poachers and elephants and saving elephants and stuff. So that was really cool. But this was actually her first novel. And she, of course, won the John Burroughs Award for nature writing because it's awesome. But so when they were over in Africa, a documentary came out about a pair of American conservationists, the Mark and Delia Owens story.
Oh.
The Deadly Game.
Oh.
So that came out, and then they were on the mission to save elephants from poachers and corrupt African officials. So you would think like, okay, that's great. But what's included in this documentary is that they filmed a murder of an alleged poacher executed while he was lying collapsed on the ground, having already been shot.
Okay, wait, back it up.
Yeah.
So they killed the poacher?
Well,
or they were filming him.
They were filming him. Apparently he was shot, and then he was shot again while he was like laying there, and that was filmed.
Oh.
I don't know how they don't know who the hell did this. They still don't know who did it. And so...
just sounds kind of sketchy to me.
Yeah. So, and then the identity of the person who does the shooting is not known or known. And so...
but so he was shot, and then he was shot again on video when they were videoing.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like they shot him.
Yes.
I mean...
that's what it sounds like.
That's what I'm getting.
And so the guy that was shot was like a poacher, apparently.
Uh-huh.
But when research happened, it's not known like that he may not even have been a poacher. He might have just like been trespassing. So then they just shot someone. So it just kind of
cold-blooded murder.
Yeah. And so then they left the country, and the documentary sparked the police investigation of their activities. And apparently Mark Owens, her husband, has a history with poachers and bragged about killing them on his watch.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow. That's something to brag about.
So
not something I would brag about, but okay.
No. And so then the cameraman who filmed for ABC of the killing of the alleged poacher told a reporter that it was not a game scout, but it was Christopher Owens who fired the shot. So Christopher Owens is their son. I know. It just like
plot twist.
It keeps unraveling.
Well, I mean, like when you first said it, I was like, so somebody in their party must have shot him if they got it on video.
So I think it was their son. And now they're like trying to cover it up for him.
I mean,
well, they took the body and dropped the body in well, this is what they say happens.
Okay, right.
Yeah, back up.
We don't know. We don't know for sure.
Know.
This is just what research has shown.
Yes, I've read this online. Is that they took the body and dropped it in a lagoon over, and then the police say that the bush, like the lagoon in Africa, is a perfect place to commit murder because animals eat the evidence. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So after all this went down, they left. So they're in the States, and there's still no statute of limitations on murder.
Right, of course.
And so they're still
they're
wanted for questioning. So they're not wanted in like they're murder suspects, but they're just questioning.
But they ain't going back there.
They ain't never going back.
Absolutely not. So, and I don't think there's not like extradition with Zimbabwe. Ooh,
no,
they might have just gotten away with murder.
Interviews here. So they've been interviewed, and they just say that Chris wasn't there, and Mark, the husband, only threw firecrackers at poachers to scare them, but never to hurt them. Yeah, they deny any wrongdoing or involvement.
Okay, well, we don't know the real story.
No, we don't.
Just sounds sketchy to me.
I know. And so
it sounds really sketchy to me.
When I was doing the research, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I knew there was something behind this, but actually diving into it, I was like, this is crazy.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
So if you think about it, when they are allegedly taking this body and putting it in a lagoon in freaking Africa, so lions would eat them.
Well, that reminds me of the effing story.
The story. That's exactly how she got her fucking story.
Oh, maybe.
The marsh.
Did this happen before she wrote the story?
Yes.
Oh, stop.
Sorry, this happened in 1996.
Oh, this happened a while ago.
Yeah. So she's been here.
And this story came out what?
It was published and released in 2018. So she probably may have had this story for a while, published it, and then
kind of sat on it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, good for you, Delia. Hope your family's great.
Got away with murder, but it's fine.
It's fine. We're not sure.
We don't know.
Still just speculation, but hey, what an interesting story.
I know.
I'm into it.
So, speaking of like marsh and all that and like lagoons, so that's where all this takes place.
Yes, the North Carolina coast, the marshlands.
In 1969?
Flips between 1950s and 1969. 1969 is when her trial, Kaya, our main character, that's when her trial takes place. But whenever she's like talking about when she was a kid and growing up in the marsh, that's mainly in the 1950s and early 60s.
Yeah. I really liked how this book was set up.
I did too. I liked how we got to hear a lot about her background before they really jumped into the trial.
Yeah.
Whereas in the movie, it was like trial and then background. So I liked how the book set it up a lot better.
Same. Same. Well, it starts out, so Chase Andrews is murdered. These two boys find this body, and that's the exact same in the book and the movie. They are riding their bikes through the marsh,
and there's a body off the fire tower.
And it's
Chase Andrews. He was the best quarterback the town's ever seen. I can't tell you how many times they said that in the book and the movie.
Most popular boy.
Great, he's a jock. Awesome.
I know. Douchebag is what he is.
He's such a little douche. I could not stand him. I will say though, in the movie, they picked the perfect Chase Andrews. Yes. I think. Like when I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I saw in my head.
Same.
Great choice. I don't know the name of the actor. Sorry about that, but I thought it was a good choice.
I thought the movie did a great character picks for all of them. Kaya too. Perfect. She was so perfect.
She was.
It's exactly how I pictured them.
She was.
So
the little girl, I wasn't as fan of, like her as a little girl. I thought she would have been a lot skinnier, a lot more
because she doesn't eat.
Right. She was like,
so that's what I do.
Starved almost to death.
Basically.
Yeah.
So what I don't like about the movie compared to the book. So the book, when she's little, her mom leaves. She's like having a breakdown. Her dad's super abusive.
Terribly abusive.
All her siblings, she has like 4 siblings, they all start to leave one by one because they're all getting abused, like hitting.
Yeah,
not sexually abused.
He gets drunk. And, well, we don't know, but maybe the mom, but I don't know.
Yeah, just basically just so abusive, and they're like, peace out, we cannot stay here anymore.
Right.
And so
I mean, I do the same thing.
Then this little girl, yes, she has her dad, but he's not doing anything.
He's just getting drunk and leaving her.
And so she's kind of fending for herself, and then one day he up and leaves, and it's like she's selling mussels to Jumpin'.
Oh, Jumpin'.
Yeah, is just
one of my favorite characters.
In his little shack, selling his little stuff.
Call him Jumpin' because every time you pull up to the wharf, he jumps up.
He's so cute.
He's so cute.
I pictured this little old man too. Like, but I mean, I know it's years later, and then he's like old and dead. But like in the movie, he's like plump and just. I don't know.
He was more spry than I thought he was going to be. I mean, I guess his name is Jumpin', so maybe I missed that part. But I thought of him as older too. Yeah. I pictured him a little older with like white hair.
Yeah, and
in my head,
he sells her grits, and well, she's living in
basically her only friend. Her true paw was Jumpin'. And
I know,
and Mabel,
and they took care of her.
Yeah,
Mabel, his wife, and so they're kind of looking out for her, but then her paw leaves, and then she's literally on her own. She's
all by her lonesome.
And she says, like, in the book and the movie, like, she can't live off of it.
I can't live without grits.
Yeah. And so, like, that's all she's living on. And you would think that this girl would be so skinny and tiny.
Yeah. I mean, if that's all you're living off is like some saltines, some grits, maybe a fish here or there. Because her paw does end up coming back. And she says there's a time when he was good to me. He teaches her how to fish, takes her out on the boat, gives her his rucksack from the army. And it's not until they get a letter from Ma that really sets him over the edge when he starts burning everything, burns the letter, burns all of the rest of her stuff, and then goes out drinking, never comes back. Then she's really on her own.
Yeah. Don't you think their little shack that they live in is in the book? So, well, obviously everything's so detailed in a book.
Right. I mean, of course.
The movie can only do so much, but in the book, it's like a rickety old shack. She's got a couch, a table. Her bed is just a mattress. I don't know.
On the porch.
On the porch.
A porch mattress.
I pictured 4 walls and barely a roof. And in this movie, she's got pictures hanging on the wall. She
has a nice big red couch,
like rugs and dishes and all this stuff. Like
I feel like they glamified it. You know how Hollywood does it? They kind of just make it all look better for the movies, which I get why they do that. But also this scene. I mean, we're in the 1950s, 1960s, the South. It's supposed to be like dirty and trash, poor. Like Poe. She real Poe.
She real Poe.
Yeah, I mean, and then in the movie, she looked plump as a kid. Her clothes were fairly clean.
We were watching the movie and we were like, she's too clean.
This girl too clean.
There's one scene that they make her look raggedy and stuff. Mabel, Jumpin's wife, says that they print out the school's lunch menu in the paper, and she's so hungry that she's like, okay, well, I'll try going to school. And so she goes barefoot, which is fine. Back in the day, everybody goes barefoot to school. And so she's like, she walks into school and they make her look pretty dirty. Her feet are all dirty. Her face is.
She's even wearing a dress that Mabel gave her, which in the book, she doesn't get clothes from Mabel till way later.
No. In the movie, she takes a dress of her mom's that's hanging in the closet, and she like ties it around her.
That's what it was. I don't think she did that in the book. I think she was wearing her overalls, because I remember it saying like, I'm wearing the too short overalls.
Yeah. They're too short.
And she stayed for the whole day in the book. She got her food, but like in the movie, she just runs out after she spells dog G-O-D.
I know. Kids are fucking mean too.
Oh my God.
They're like laughing at her and stuff. And
so rat trash.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Marsh girl. You're in the marsh.
Yeah, we should mention that. Everybody calls her the marsh girl in this city. Town. It's not a city. It's a town.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cove. Barkley Cove.
Barkley Cove. And so she just, to me, was supposed to be just so trashy. And in the movie, they glammed it up. And
for sure.
Another thing that they glammed up, which I don't like, is obviously 1960s in the book, it was huge about race. And you had, even in the world building in the beginning of the book, where they show a depiction of where everything is, right? Their little town they have Colored Town,
right?
Yeah, and that's where Jumpin' lives. And she actually is walking with Jumpin' in the book.
She's going to visit with Jumpin'. She wants to talk to him.
Yeah.
And she notices these two white boys like throwing rocks at Jumpin'.
Yeah. And that doesn't happen.
No, they skip right over that.
They skip right over it. I think in the movie they only call him boy.
Yeah, some
white boy.
Yeah.
Is calling Jumpin', who is a grown man.
A boy. Terrible.
And
I can't imagine being like that. I mean, I know it's a completely different age. I get it, but still, just the
treating anybody like that is just baffling.
Exactly.
I know. Ugh. But that did happen.
100%.
And she is depicting that in her book, and it just didn't show any of that in the movie.
Not really. They kind of just glazed over it.
Yeah, there's way more scenes of it. They also... You notice this in the movie, is that when she's walking through town, even as a child, she's around people. In the book, she is such a recluse. She has
isolated,
no social ability, because she's been in this marsh, just tucked away alone.
Right.
And she would never be around people. And there's so many scenes
in the movie where she is just around people. Like, she goes to the store and there's a lot of people, where in the book she would hide until all the people were gone, and then she'd show up. And
yeah,
I mean, there was one scene, like jumping forward a little bit, where she's literally sitting on a beach. All these kids are playing. She's like kind of an adult at this point, and she's not 10 feet from them. And she's just watching them play, and they're not bothering her. Where in the book, she'd be like hiding behind a rock or a tree, like 50 feet away.
Kind of just looking at
spying.
Them.
She spied a lot in the book.
Yeah.
She literally did not want to go near people at all. And yet in the movie, it's like, oh, it's whatever. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Well, and that's how she kind of meets Tate. So Tate in the beginning...
Oh, I love Tate.
I know. So Tate in the beginning, he was Jody's friend, and they'd go fishing.
Right. Jody was her older brother.
Yes.
They also skipped over that in the movie. Like, he's barely in it, where Jody like really taught her the marsh. He was the one who first taught her how to like, hide in it and how to be one with the marsh.
Yes.
And yet he just up and leaves and says, run away from Dad, where the crawdads sing, if he ever gets drunk.
Yeah.
And then he's gone.
And then he's gone.
And that's it.
Peace out, Jody.
Bye, Jody.
And so Tate is kind of around. Jody leaves. Then her pa leaves. And do we fast forward a little bit? Does she get older? And then her and Tate kind of start to pass feathers? Is that when it...
Well, when they start to pass feathers, she's like 14.
Yeah.
But in the book, she sees him as a kid. She takes Pa's boat out before he leaves and gets lost in the marsh and sees Tate fishing. She's only like 7. Tate is at least 4 years older than her, so he would have been like 11 fishing. And he says, "Hey, you look lost. Can I help you back to your lagoon?" And at first she says no, but then she's like looking around like, "Actually, I'm like really lost." She's like, "Why don't you just follow me?" And he gets her back, and that's like the last we see of Tate until
fast forward.
Until the feather game, yeah.
And she's older. She's 14 in the book.
Right.
And he's
like 18.
He's like 18. He's a senior.
Yeah.
He's
17, 18.
Because he's about to leave for college. So
right. He's starting his senior year.
He's starting his senior year. So they start to pat on this little stump. which I thought this scene was really cute in the book. It lasts a long time.
Yeah.
Them passing the feathers and not even knowing each other.
No. Well, because she's a recluse. Like, he knows that she doesn't want to talk to people. Every time she's talked to people, they either leave her or they make fun of her. Yeah. So why would she want to be around people?
Exactly.
And he knows this.
And so he starts giving her feathers that are pretty special, and she passes her special
feathers. Other girls don't know feathers.
I mean, so sweet.
I mean, he just knew what she needed.
Yeah. Some companionship. She needs a friend.
Yeah.
And so
he leaves her a note, and she's like, I couldn't read your note.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I can teach you how to read.
Which this made me so mad in the movie is when he teaches her to read, they go to this reading shack, and it's just like their own little space. She's so embarrassed that she doesn't know how to read, but she wants to learn how to read.
Of course.
And so they spend so much time there, and they don't put that in the movie.
Nope, not at all.
It makes me really upset. It's a big part of the movie.
It is a big part. I mean, that's where she also like hides from Chase there at the end. I mean, it's her little, like, nobody knows about it. It's literally just a shack in the woods. And in the book, whenever Tate comes back, he uses that as a base for his lab stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on at the reading shack.
And I understand you have to leave stuff out, but like that was a big part of it.
They really cut that out. And I mean, the movie wasn't that long. I felt like they could have added just like, 10 minutes of the reading shack here and there. Not even 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Just kind of mention it, show them reading there.
Yeah,
show her running away from Chase there.
And so they're like reading together, and he teaches her all this stuff, and then she's like wants to be his girlfriend. And so they kind of like,
I liked it in the book whenever they finally first kiss. Right? It's whenever the leaves are falling. They're like catching the leaves. It's really cute. He leans down and he kisses her, and she's like, does this mean I'm your girlfriend?
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to be? Whereas in the movie, it's extra cheesy. Like, I was just like, oh God, these adults. Because first of all, she does not look 14. She looks like she's a grown adult. It's not
absolutely.
Like,
I think
not childlike at all. Yeah, but yeah, of course, like she is. They didn't even, but I felt like they didn't even try to make her look younger.
No.
It's just like, okay, now she's older.
Well, in the movie, I feel like they wanted them both to be like 18.
Yeah, but
and
they're not.
They're not. In the book, and he even has issues with like kissing her because she's so young.
Well, yeah, because he wants to kind of go farther, and he knows she does too. But he doesn't want to ruin her.
Yeah, because he goes, this isn't right.
No, you 15, girl. Like,
yeah, and
we're gonna have to wait.
And he does. And so they go on throughout the whole year, just reading and kissing, and they're just like young love, super cute. We love him. And then he leaves
for college,
and he goes, okay, well, I'll be back July 4th.
Right.
And she puts on, I think, one of her mom's dresses.
This was the saddest part for me.
She gets all like dolled up, and she
uses her mom's lipstick
and waits on the beach like their meeting spot. And he doesn't show. And in the book, he's watching her from afar.
Right. He like comes and like sees her on the beach by herself and decides that she cannot be a part of his world that he's trying to join.
He's off at school. He's trying to really make a life for himself. He's poor as well in the town, and he wants to make something of himself. He's really smart.
He goes to becomes
a biologist.
Biologist.
And so
he wants to study the marsh. That's
which
literally
is really
what he wants to do. Yeah.
And so
they were made for each other.
I know,
but they were.
So he's just is like, no, like in a very, very sad way, but like, you'll hold me back.
Yeah. He just thinks that, I mean, like, she can't be around people, and he's imagining himself in labs and talking to his colleagues, and he just doesn't see her there. So he leaves her.
Yeah.
Legit leaves her. Doesn't say goodbye in the book. Like, he says goodbye, but doesn't come back to say a true goodbye.
Yeah.
And so, yet again, she's alone.
And then
years pass.
I was going to say, now we have a big time jump. We have like 5 years. I'm pretty sure it's 5.
At least 4 or 5, yeah.
So we have a time jump. She's literally been alone this whole time.
Yeah.
And she stumbles upon Chase Andrews, who, okay, in the movie, they're on the beach playing.
This is the part that I hated.
Yeah. So
like, what?
It's the same way in the book. They're all Chase Andrews and his friends are out throwing the football. They're with girls and big
playing on a beach.
And she is such a recluse that she's like watching them.
But she's hiding behind a tree and he notices her eyes, but she's not on the beach. Like she's not that close to them, just raiding.
Like it is in the movie. No. The movie, she's sitting right
next to them. And I was like, this would never happen. And then you start seeing her in town walking around, like smiling at people. No, bitch. I'm sorry. Like,
no, this girl. And that's why the whole town makes fun of her, and it's because she's the marsh girl and she kind of lurks and she
spies
a lot of stuff, and nobody really knows her.
Nope.
It just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't really make sense in the movie how they did it. So,
I was not a big fan. That was like one of my least favorite parts of the movie because I was just like, this makes no sense.
It didn't. And so, meeting Chase Andrews, Chase starts to really take an interest in her and is like, well, he has like a pact with his buddies that he can get in her pants and stuff.
Right.
Too.
He wants to be the first one to bang the marsh girl.
Yeah.
Just absolutely awful.
And then he basically is tricking her.
But it's awful.
And their first little time with her. I mean, I think he really does enjoy her company.
I think so too. He realizes that she's not like some dumb animal. She knows the scientific Latin names for things, and he's like, whoa,
that's impressive.
He's like, I don't know nothing about that, because their first little date is a picnic on the beach, and she's like talking about the shells and gives their legit scientific Latin name, and he's like, well, I don't know nothing about that, what the hell.
Yeah.
But then he tries to kiss her, takes it too far, and she gets pissed off.
She jumps up and is like, no, this Absolutely is not happening.
Yeah. She runs off and they don't see each other again for like a little bit before he finally comes back and convinces her, like, here, come, I want to show you something. He wants to show her the fire tower.
Which in the movie is pretty cool. I did picture the fire tower differently. I pictured like a round kind of water tower.
I pictured more of a water tower too.
I guess that's what I had in my head.
I'd never seen a fire tower, to be honest.
I didn't know what the hell it was.
I don't think they have them anymore. That might be wrong. I don't know. Take that back.
I
know nothing about it.
And especially, I can't really say I've been in a marshy little area before.
No, I mean,
swamp in Florida, I guess.
That, I was literally about to say, like, the swamps in Florida, and I've never been in them. I just drive by them.
Yeah. I've been in one to see, like, some alligators. But anyways.
Oh.
So they're up on this fire tower, and it's super rickety, and there's, like, a big hole
in the ground
in it. And in the movie, they push the gate and it like closes the hole.
Right.
I think in the book, isn't it an open hole that they have like step over?
I thought it was something that you pushed up, you go in, then you push it down. But then I thought there was a hole in the railing and that's where Chase fell, not a hole in the ground. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I can't remember, honestly, in the book.
I don't know if I just pictured it wrong. I totally could have, but I totally pictured them like walking up and pushing it out with their hands and then having to push it back down. Then you're up there and then there's like a hole in the railing.
And that's like where
she pushed him off, not like pushed him down through the hole.
We don't know if she pushed him. So like he
fell. He fell. We don't know if she pushed him.
So
whoever pushed him.
Yeah. So, okay, back up a bit though. So he's like, they're up there. He's just showing her this beautiful view. She's like in awe of it because she's never been up that high.
Right. It's like seeing your friend's face for the first time. I thought that was so sweet.
So sweet. And so she really starts to fall for this guy because he's honestly pulling out all the right moves and getting her sucked in.
Did you think that she was actually falling for him in the book? Or because she mentions a lot that she just wanted company. Like she could, she would compare it to the animals, like the peacocks with their feathers, and the animals that would like, show off for the females when they didn't have the right stuff. Like she would say that a lot in comparison to Chase.
I think that she like intertwined those feelings of like wanting companionship, but also like, I don't really like you, but like I don't have anybody else.
Right. That's kind of what I felt.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like she was like super, super into him, especially in the beginning. She just wanted someone to be near and she still wanted to like explore her sexuality a little bit more.
Well, she's 15. She's starting to come in.
Yeah. No, at this point, remember?
Oh, she's flash forward, she's like 20.
Yeah.
You're right.
Homegirl older.
So she's like 20. So they're starting to talk. They talk for a really, really long time.
4 years.
Yeah. So
4 years he snakes out to the marsh to see his marsh girl.
So now she's like 24 and they're kind of still just doing everything. And then
did he take her to the motel? Was that like did it take him 4 years to get her to go to did it? Okay. I couldn't remember if it was that long. I think you're right. Because then
right after he rapes. Okay. So they take her Yeah. So he drives her to the motel, which in the movie, I thought they did a really good job with that scene.
I did too.
It's exactly how I pictured it. He basically
last 2 seconds.
He walks in. He gets what he wants, and
2 pumps and done.
Two pumps and done. That's also when he gives the. That's so funny.
I'm sorry.
Your face.
I mean, like, but that's totally how some guy like that would do it. It's just like, I got what I want, and now I'm gonna lay here.
And he looks at her and is like, "It'll get better for you.
It'll get better for you." Oh,
she's just like scared to death.
She's like, "Where the am I? What am I doing?"
It was really sad in the book.
It was so sad in the book
because you got to really see
in the movie. I was just
her
like,
feelings.
This sucks for her, but it's honestly a little comical with how he's like, "It'll get better for you. Don't worry." It's like, you sound like a dumbass.
You're a dick.
Yeah,
which you are. You just took advantage of her.
1010%.
Yeah, and so that's really sad. But that is also when she gives him a shell necklace that she made him. And so, which is a big part in the movie or in the book as well.
Right.
So he wears this shell necklace and
all the time
after that. So
for years.
In
the book, it was for years. She gives it to him early, but in the movie, she gives it to him after they do it.
That's right. So it's still been years that he's talking to her.
Right.
Those 4 years or whatever, 5 years.
Right.
And so he's wearing that, and then I'm trying to think what else happens between that and so then they're on the beach.
That's when Tate comes back. Tate starts hearing around town that they're together. And,
that's right.
Yeah, and he's like, I can't stand this anymore because he hears Tate hears Chase like bragging that he's done the marsh girl and that she's wild as a fox and all this stuff. And in the movie, they have like a little kerfuffle at jump-ins where in the book he just hears him talking about it and he's like, okay, I'm gonna ignore that, and then he goes off and tells Kaya. And then
well, and now Kaya's like, I don't believe you, and Tate, you left me, don't
starts throwing rocks at him,
and don't come back, like you basically broke my heart. And
but he tells her what he hears.
And then that's shortly after when she's in town and hears about the engagement.
Right. In the movie, that's how she finds out. Is his fiance literally says, "This is my fiance Chase," or "I'm Chase's fiance Pearl," something like that.
Yeah, which that would never happen. She's not walking through the town.
Nope, she ain't gonna talk to them.
No, and she sees it in the paper in the book. She reads the engagement announcements and she's just devastated.
Right. He comes just and shows up and she's like gonna go hide in the forest.
Yeah, she hides from him. She's like, I don't want this confrontation. Another person is leaving me when you promised like we were basically together.
He kept promising marriage and how I'm gonna build you a house with a wraparound veranda.
Fucking men.
I know. That was literally 100%, Hayley. You just put the nail on the head.
I mean,
he'd say anything you can to get in your pants, and then it's like, oh, but by the way, I'm engaged to this other woman.
Yeah. And so
go figure.
She's honestly devastated. She's upset, and she runs into him, right? And he's drunk.
He in the book, she's just sitting on a beach.
That's right.
And he like sneaks up on her. And he's drunk. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And he's like, I miss you. Let's get together. He knocks the shit out of her in the book and in the movie.
Yes.
But in the book, it was like, it took months for her to recover. Like he had
broke ribs. I mean, like, or bruised them, whatever. Yeah.
He straight up attacked her.
He attacked her on the beach and tries to rape her.
100%.
And he's like showing dominance and he's like, you stupid marsh girl, you can't run from me. And like, I still will have my way with you.
Yeah.
Even though I'm getting married to this girl and all this stuff.
But thank God she fights back.
She fights back.
Thank God.
He ends up not raping her but just brutally attacks her.
Yeah.
And then somebody, when she's leaving in her boat, because it's the beach attack happens, and she leaves on her little boat and goes back to her house. But on the way, she passes or right on the beach, somebody was listening to that. And when she's leaving the beach, she says, "You will never," she screams it, "You will never hit me again. And
you come near me again,
I'll kill you if you come near me." Well, that guy overhears it and stuff. And you're just like, well, whatever.
Well, he came by because he heard Kaya literally screaming. Like he was in the trial. He mentions, "I heard a woman in distress. So I went to check it out." Because that's what, any good man would do.
Yeah. And no offense, but like in the trial, which we'll get to the trial part, right. But like if you hear that and then the girl's like, "You will never hit me again, I'll fucking kill you." She just got attacked. Bro.
Exactly. It's like you can't use that against, well, I mean, I guess you can in a court of law, but it's like, come on, y'all. Like,
well, anyways.
And that's a whole nother story. Me too. We're obviously pissed about it.
We're obviously women.
Arms. Like, yeah, it's like, no.
So, right. So she leaves and goes back to the cabin, and then I'm pretty sure in the book, it's been months, and she like recovers, and she Tate steals her artwork, right? When does that?
He doesn't steal it. He asks her if he can take some of her artwork and send it off to a publishing. Yeah, this was another thing that they really jumbled up in the movie, was how Tate introduced her to the publishing world. And this was actually before this all happened. It was like when he first came back after college, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we skipped it.
Well, in the book, he like just wants to see how she's doing. He goes, "I know you're with Chase, but can I just come in and like just chat with you for a minute?" And he notices all of her artwork with all of the genus and species and basically everything mapped out on her walls. He's like, "Kaya, this stuff is amazing. Can I send it off to a publishing company for you? Because you can make money off of this. And you could take care of yourself."
Yeah. And she's actually needing money. So a little backstory besides the love interest,
right,
is her shack, the developers are coming to the marsh and wanting to knock down it and build other things, and she owes back taxes. And this is actually true, that like if you don't pay your taxes, anybody can come in, pay 100%. Off your back taxes, and then they own the house. 100%. So she doesn't want that to happen. She has zero money, no idea how to make the money. She would be devastated if she lost her little shack.
Right.
And so she's like, okay, well, in the book, Chase sends it off and a publisher reaches out to her.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Tate. He's the one who started.
Tate does it.
Yeah, not Chase. Definitely not Chase. Chase would never
Tate,
do that. He thought those drawings were silly. But Tate definitely starts it, sends it off, and then she starts corresponding with publishers.
And she doesn't want to meet them. She sends off more work throughout the...
It's through mail. The entire time is through correspondence.
Yes.
And she creates this book. And she gets money for it.
She literally creates it. It's so cool. And the publisher wants to meet her. And she's working up a courage to go into town. It's away. It's a different town away. She has to stay the night. I know, but it's like she has to take the bus in, and it's...
And this meeting was supposed to happen, like, this is fast forward, because she writes her books, and then Chase attacks her. And she's supposed to meet with her publisher, like, a couple months after Chase attacks her. And she's like, "I can't go now. I've got all this. I got to wait until my face clears up." Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and she still goes.
Of course she does.
And she kills it.
Put your big girl panties on, Kaya. And she does it.
She does it.
People in town are like, "Oh my gosh, that's the Marsh girl all dolled up. She's getting on a bus."
I mean,
lots of people see her do it, and yet they still accuse her of murder. Even though she has a solid alibi.
So this is when we basically get to the trial, which in the book is like a main part of like the second part of the book.
It is like the second part.
Yeah. And then in the movie, obviously they flash back and forth throughout the whole thing.
Right.
And the only thing that they really missed about the trial is the people on the bus.
The disguises.
And so they are thinking that she used the publisher
as an alibi.
So that but the publisher gives he's on trial, and he's like, yeah, she came, she seemed normal. And then there's a bus route at like 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., something along those lines.
It's like 1:30. She would have had to catch the bus at 1:30 and then go do or 1 o'clock and then go do the murder and then come back. and make the 2:30 bus, even though the 1 o'clock bus was late and didn't get there until 1:20 in the book.
In the book.
They say all that.
Yes.
And she would have had to wear disguises on the buses because both bus drivers, the 2:30 and the 1 o'clock bus, were like, no, she was not on there.
We didn't see her. Right. So how did she get from one place to another? And it just didn't make any sense. And so the murder, what they're saying happens, is on the fire tower. Chase Andrews either fell
or she lured him up there and pushed his ass off.
Pushed him off and killed him. And so we find out that all these, the evidence, I loved the lawyer. We only really met him at the very end, like obviously through the trial.
The second part of the book.
Part of the book. Here we meet him right in the beginning, which he is so sweet. I pictured a bigger fat man, though.
Did you? I kind of pictured almost exactly who he was. Like, because it says he's tall, lean, old. He's retired, not slow, but he's a slow talker, but he's kind. In the movie, they make it seem like they show points in her life where he's seen her, which I guess would be true because he said he grew up and he's lived in Barclay Cove his whole life, but they didn't show that in the book.
Yeah.
They just made his part a lot bigger. Whereas they just completely skipped over like the truant officer and all these other people.
Yeah.
The book,
yeah.
Which is fine.
I mean, that's okay to skip out in a movie.
Yeah.
And so the whole trial goes. I loved his end.
The end speech is amazing.
The end speech, his
closing statement.
Yeah, his closing statement.
Let's say the actual term here.
Well, we're not lawyers.
End speech. It's the end speech.
Yes, the ending.
No, the closing statement always brings me to tears.
It was really good. You honestly have doubts, though, I felt like through the whole trial. Like, when I was reading it, I was like, are they going to find her guilty? Are they? Like,
it was pretty...
It was neck and neck.
Did you think... Okay, before the first time you read it, I want to know, did you think she did it?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, when I was reading it, I was like, no, she didn't do this.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then
the fact that his necklace is gone, I thought it might have just flown off. Because that was the only thing that really connected her was the damn necklace.
Was the necklace.
We didn't mention that. His necklace was missing. And his mom, of course, Mama knows best, always knows what's going on.
Mom. On trial, she was so annoying.
Oh, I hated her. But I mean, it was perfect. She was like one of those prissy bitches.
She killed my son.
She killed him, took his necklace and killed him.
I mean, so she was annoying. And then there was the necklace and there was one other thing.
The necklace was missing and
they just really...
Oh, there were no fingerprints.
Yeah.
No fingerprints, no footprints. So somebody had to have wiped them off.
And there was
the lawyer proved that, like, you know, the marsh can cover up stuff, so the footprints are gone. And I mean, fingerprints, are you a fingerprints expert? That's what he said to the sheriff, and he basically made the sheriff sound like a dumbass. Her lawyer was fabulous.
It was really sweet, but like,
he was a good lawyer.
There was also a part where I thought Tate did it.
I thought Tate did it.
Because there were scenes in the book and the movie where he would talk to his dad and was like, I really care for her.
The hat was his.
The hat was his. Another part of evidence that was missing. And so there was just little things that maybe said, maybe she didn't do it, but he did.
I thought it was Tate the entire time when I read the book the first time. I literally thought it was Tate.
I was like, somebody
until that last
it.
chapter.
Somebody did it. And I was like, and then she got off. And it was like,
once you're acquitted for murder, that's it.
That's it. But then, so she gets off not guilty. Okay, cool. But then you're like, well, what actually happened? You can't just like leave the book. Okay, like,
I know. I thought it was going to be a cliffhanger. It's like, oh, okay, so we're just not going to find out who murdered him.
Yeah.
Right? Well, at least it wasn't her. And then in the book, it's like her and Tate get together.
Yeah, which is so sweet in the movie as well. So they actually end up together. He's like, "I love you, Kaya," and he
wants to marry her, and she's like, "Well, aren't we basically like geese,
because they're mated." And
so sweet. So they don't actually get married. I guess that's what they're saying there. But in the book, they say like they try to have children and they never come. So I don't.
Yeah, they never come, and they just kind of grow old together.
That part made me bawl my eyes out, where they were like, "We tried, but we never came." I was like, "Oh God, that's got to be awful."
That's awful. And he just, I don't know. Their little love story was really sweet and
so sweet. It was like just endearing. And then
she died.
When she finally dies, her heart just gives out. how they did it in the movie, I bawled when it was like
sad.
a flashback from her as a child seeing her mother to like her as a young adult to her as an old woman. The old people always get me.
I know. It was old
people always get me.
So, fun fact, we watched this movie together.
Yeah, we did.
And we just sat there and we were like, this is really sad. I was like, this is where I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. Well, and then she looked over and I was like, me too.
Whenever they just get old and they're like in their boat together, just looking at little like creatures, I was like, oh, I love old people.
Yeah.
They're so sweet.
So then this is where
she just dies in her boat.
Yeah. And then this is where it pisses me off.
Well, hold on.
Is the ending.
Yeah. The ending really pissed me off. First of all, they don't show the funeral, which in the book.
Of Jump In. No, of hers.
Of her. Oh, yeah, we forgot to mention. Jump In dies.
That's okay. Yeah. It's not a huge thing.
I mean, it is. In the book, it is.
Well, the book it is.
Jump In dies. She doesn't go to the funeral.
Because she's a recluse
but in the movie,
for the bazillionth time.
I know. Like, we can't say it enough. Like, she does.
It's probably repetitive and people are like, shut the fuck up about it.
But honestly,
it's so true. And she doesn't go to Jump In's
that's basically
funeral.
The whole thing of like the whole theme of the movie or the book is that she is a recluse and doesn't like people.
And then here she is in the movie going to the funeral,
which she did not in the book. But anyways, so she dies, and in the book they have Tate gets special permission to bury her in the marsh.
Yeah.
And he does have a funeral, and the entire town comes out, literally the entire town, to pay their respects to the marsh girl. And that part, I was like, damn. Oh, so sweet.
Well, and they also like have like rumors about it, and they're like, we get to like see out here and stuff. And I don't know. I still think the town's full of bullshit.
Oh yeah, they all suck.
Yeah.
They all legit suck.
Well, so she dies. She has the funeral out there.
Tate's heartbroken.
And he's just kind of sulking, and
he doesn't want to give away her stuff. Like, she said that when she died, she wanted to donate it all to some museum or lab, all of her like stuff in her house. But he can't do that yet in the book. And he keeps it, he's looking at it, and then he notices the stove.
Well, so she gets some royalties, obviously, from her books. Mm-hmm. She publishes multiple books, and she has this old fireplace in there, like a little
old wood stove. It's her old wood stove.
Old wood stove, and I think
won't get rid of
Tate wanted to rip it out and put like something else in
got
there.
a new one.
Got a new one, and she didn't want to.
They got a new one to use, but she still wouldn't get rid of the old wood stove where she kept firewood because it would heat the place in the winter. Yeah.
And so at the very end, the firewood that she has on the side that's always been stacked, it's always nice, whatever, goes down to its last log. It's dwindled a bit. And so he goes to throw the last log on and is like,
he notices the floor.
It's a little hidden little thing, and he opens it up.
And there's a cigarette box of all of her stuff. From her life.
Dun, dun, including the necklace.
Oh my God. I was just like, oh, and there was the Firefly poem that basically says, I lured him out there, but he never knew. I hid in the darkness and pushed him through. Something like that. Ooh,
yep.
I'm a little poet. That was good.
I was like, damn, you remember
that was definitely not what it was, but it was something like that.
You pulled it out of your butt.
I did. Like a firefly. In the movie they didn't show this either, but she mentions fireflies throughout the book and like how their mating calls, so they'll change their mating calls to attract different species, and then if it's the wrong species they'll eat them.
Whoa,
you don't remember that from the book? Ooh, that was one of my favorite parts. I think that's cool. So cool. Female fireflies, they can change their like blinking colors.
That's
and if
so
it's
neat.
the right mate, like if the right species, they'll obviously mate, but they can switch to the other species and attract the males and then eat them. And I think that's so cool.
Oh,
I'm like, damn, nature, you just killed it.
Nature.
I like it.
That is the best.
Here for it.
Well, and so you see all these things and you realize that
she def killed him.
Yeah, you didn't leave it on the cliffhanger.
So happy. When I read that, I was like, yes, Kaya.
I know.
I was really happy. In the ground.
I was shocked though that it was like Tate was the one that found it, and we couldn't even talk to her about it because she did.
Oh, I know.
So it was that.
That was probably a shock to him. But
then
I
really liked that scene in the book.
I did too.
Because the firewood we didn't really mention it's kind of throughout the whole book.
It is. She mentions
it a lot, and then here we are in the movie, and she's just like, he's like opening up a book. like a
Yeah,
notebook.
I hate how they did it in the movie. It's literally just like a book on the shelf that he's looking through. It's like her journal or something.
Yeah,
And in the
there's
back
like
of the journal, there's a cutout with the
necklace.
I
didn't like it. I get why maybe they had to do it because they would have to like backtrack on the firewood. They would have had to like.
All they would have had to do is show her as a little girl throwing wood in the fire. As an adult, throwing wood in the fire. Just a little scene that showed the wood and showed the fireplace. And then that's all they would have had to do to make that like connect.
I didn't care. I remember walking out of the theater and being like,
I was pissed.
Are you kidding me? That's how they ended it?
Beyond pissed. Okay, so I went to see this movie by myself because I was. I don't give a shit.
No, me too.
I did not.
I saw Twilight back in the day by myself.
I've done it so many times because I can't get anybody to go with me the day that I want to go, and I'm like, I have to see it now. I'm so impatient that I was like, nope, I'm going. I don't give a. I'm going. And
excuse me.
Oh no, you're fine. But I was so pissed at the end of that.
Yeah.
It's like ruined it. It's ruined.
It did. I mean, so when you compare the books to the movies, obviously like we are such big book readers and we love the details of books, and then they make the movie and then you're like, oh, this is gonna be so good.
The hype for it is always amazing, but it's like it's never
not as good.
Never quite there.
People that don't read the books are like, I love the movie, and I'm like, did you? Did you
really? Okay.
So happy you did.
I do like I like the Harry Potter book. I love the Harry Potter books, but I love the movies too.
Same.
I was able to like separate those two, even though there are so many things that they don't talk about in the movies.
But it was so good.
They did a really. And
I can't even talk about it because I'll just go on and on.
I know. One day we'll have to talk about that. Maybe like in the future. I know it's been done 1.5 million times at this point, but I would reread.
Look at how standing of time that they are, though. They came out when we were little, and they are still going strong.
Oh, they got a whole like amusement park. I mean, damn.
I know.
J.K. Rowling just raking it in. But, yeah, one day we'll have to do that. But
okay, well then let's
wrap this up with the big three.
Sure,
let's do it.
Who'd you kill off?
Oh, I mean, I would have killed off Pa, but it would have changed the whole story.
Ooh,
like I would have killed him off before Ma had left, and like rewritten that whole thing. But then it's like, okay, so you kill Pa, then you kill him. Yeah, well, I mean, kill Pa, Ma would have stayed. None of the rest would have happened.
True.
She might have met Tate, but she would have been fine. Probably would have gone to school.
Yeah.
So, but like out of all of the characters, that's who I would, because Chase dies. I'm happy with him.
Well, that's why I was like, you can't really kill off the douchebag because he dies.
He does. Who would you kill?
Okay, the mom of Chase Andrews. So
I like that. Oh, just like chop.
She annoyed me in the book and in the movie.
She was terrible.
I get your son.
A grade A bitch.
She was though, and it was like she's just she wanted somebody to blame. She did it, but I didn't like her.
But I wanted her. No, I mean, Mama knows best. She knew it was that girl, and she was right.
She was right.
Sorry,
you know,
we didn't want her to be right, but yeah, she's terrible.
So I did. What'd you rate it?
Okay, so book first movie. I gave the book a solid 7.
Oh, okay.
Not my favorite, but it kept me interested. I cried. I really loved how she intertwined the nature in Kaya's life, the marsh. I love the whole setting. Big fan.
Yeah.
Movie gave like 4.
Yeah.
Not a fan. What about you?
I gave the book an 8. Yeah, I really liked it. I did. That's a great score. It, like you said, it kept me going from start to finish. I liked the very beginning when they found the dead body and you're like, cool. And then, something's going to happen with that. There's going to be a trial, which I really like trials. Do
you like murder mysteries?
I do. They're cool. And it was set in a cool time period. I like the 60s.
You get a lot of vibes. Like you get the nature vibe. You get the historical vibe. Yes. There's the murder mystery vibe. There's a love vibe. I mean, it's got like so many elements.
So many.
And she does a really good job of like overlapping them to create this story. Yeah. Very good job.
So I liked the 8. The movie, you're going to laugh at my score. It's a 5.798.
Oh, 5.798 sounds like a diving score. Why are you giving it a 5.798?
Well, because like you said, look, our scores are very similar because I liked the movie. The characters, I thought they were kind of spot on.
The characters were spot on.
Yeah.
Well, except for Tate. I'm sorry, Tate was supposed to have curls, and that pissed me off.
He didn't.
Yeah, and he looked too jockish. Like he looked
They had to glam it up.
I know.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned that.
I know we didn't like that, but the movie that depicted the marsh really well, like just her in the boat, really pretty. The sunsets were pretty. I liked really the setting of everything got me. But overall, kind of like you, didn't really care for it.
It was a cheese factor.
It was a cheese factor. I couldn't. It's not one of those movies where it's like I could watch over and over again.
Oh no, I watched it that one time at the theater. My mom made me go with her like a couple weeks later.
I watched it one time at theater and then I watched it with you.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not one of those movies that kind of just stick with you.
It made me not want to reread the book. I was like, whenever I reread the book, I was like, oh, I do actually like this book.
It is a good book. Mm-hmm. That's why the book, look at our book rating is so much higher than
so much higher.
And so
if you haven't read it, go read it.
Well, now what would you rename the book?
The Marsh
if you
Girl.
could. Me too.
Stop.
That's exactly what I have. So we don't share our notes with this until the very end because we want it to be kind of real and authentic.
I mean, obviously. Like, what else would you... Girl, but I don't feel like...
We should really try to like be more original because what else would you name it? Like that's...
There's no other name for it.
I don't know really why she chose Where the Crawdads Sing. She mentions it once in her book because of Jody, right?
Jody says it where like way out yonder where the crawdads sing,
and then where you should hide from Pa.
And then it's mentioned on the very last page. I think it's just like it brings people. It's like, what the hell does that mean? You know, where the marsh girl's
It's a very
like,
southern term.
It is a very southern term. Way out yonder where the crawdads sing. That was another part I liked about the book is all of the whenever she would write out how people would talk. It's like,
very broken English and very southern.
Georgia. I could not figure out what that word was. She spelled it Jawja, and I was like, what the hell? I had to literally say it out loud. Georgia.
Like a child.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. If I could just rename it, The Marsh Girl does sound good. So I think either one.
I don't think I would have picked it up, but unless somebody had like told me.
You think you would pick up Where the Crawdads? Think of this just with the Marsh Girl with the same logo.
I don't know.
We're looking at the book right now, and it's just like the cover page of it, right. The pretty orange sunset color with her.
This is the one that came out after the movie came out. So
this has like the actual major pusher.
I had the original one, but I loaned it to someone and they didn't give it back. So
happens with all our books.
It happens a couple times. It's fine. Just
I have it on my Kindle.
People, maybe I like having the physical copy. I'm just kind of a nerd about that.
Well, okay. I
think that's all for today, right?
Yeah, I think so. Overall, good book.
Good book. If you haven't read it, go read it. I don't see why you would have listened to this whole thing.
On our
Verity.
Oh, next week's Halloween.
Halloween. This is Halloween. I'm so excited.
So exciting. If you haven't read Verity,
go read it.
Sorry. Please do. It is the best.
It is such a good story. Y'all will love it.
It's a thriller.
It's a thriller. It's a great Halloween read. Honestly, first time I read it in like 2 days. So if you haven't read it, go check it out. You can speed read through it. Read it at night. Gets you kind of creepy.
It's an easy, fast, crazy read. So good. We're hyping it up. We're excited for Halloween next week. Mm-hmm. Hopefully y'all can tune in. You can please listen to us and rate us on Spotify
and Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
We're on both now.
We're on both.
Let's go.
We're still trying to get to all the other ones, but hang in there with us.
And radio is just a little bit technical. I can't figure it out, but
that's okay.
We'll figure it out. Or just, Apple, Spotify, that's where we are. We're also on YouTube. You can check out our full episode on YouTube with video. That's cool. Otherwise, thanks. I'm Sophia.
I'm Haily. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.